bottom of the ocean's floor, and while they're down there, they pick up these little worms that burrow into their flesh, these tiny, thin, bright red worms. They kind of dig in there and they just stay there. Now, the worms are totally harmless to the cod, and harmless but gross to the people who eat the cod. But if you serve the cod, you have to pluck the worms out with fish tweezers before you cook it. Now, I'll tell you a little secret though. If you accidentally miss a worm and then you cook the fish, the heat will cause the worms to actually wriggle up to the surface. And then you can grab them before you send it out to the table, a perfectly white, snowy slab of pristine cod, because nobody will know that it had worms in it. And, that's proving that life does give you second chances. So for the last 23 years, I've plucked codworms. I pluck codworms because I'm a chef. I'm a chef because I went to art school, and that qualifies you to do virtually nothing. So I waited tables after college, and while I was waiting tables, I was much more interested in what was going on in the back of the house, and I was always kind of into food. So, like I said, 23 years ago, I decided to dive headfirst into that deep pool of crazy. I was a lonely, food-obsessed kid. I took solace and comfort in food. I soothed myself with it. I loved it. But back in the 70s, nobody ever said, you could be a chef. That's what old French guys on TV did. Nobody ever said that. Nobody ever said to me hey, fat kid, you're creative, you love food, you read cookbooks for a living. Read cookbooks are fun. You have that weird-ass dollhouse that has no people in it, but all that food that you carved out of old crayons. You freak. Want to be a chef. And then later on in college, my artwork incorporated all this food imagery, so I was like, why don't I be a chef? It makes perfect sense. And so I did. And by the 90s, it was a perfectly acceptable, if somewhat misguided, career choice. Now, most Jewish kids from the better suburbs tend to do pretty well for themselves. Often they do much better than their parents. Their parents are invested in that process. It's part of our religion. Be a doctor, be a lawyer, be anything you want as long as it's something really great that we can brag to our friends about. Whatever. Not Bernie and Rita Wides. Yes, that's Wides, the last name, W-I-D-E-S. Let's all spell it together. W-I-D-E-S. I was a fat kid named Wides. Thank you, gods of irony, for implanting that big, juicy codworm in my flesh. I had atypical Jewish parents. They basically married each other because they were both short. That was about it. That was the bond. And then they pretty quickly realized that that wasn't quite enough to build a marriage on. My father was a narcissistic, thwarted bohemian who basically lost his mind in the suburbs and took his resentment out on his family. And my mother was a post-traumatic Holocaust survivor. Makes for a good marriage. They never quite got the memo about being typical Jewish parents. They couldn't quite do it right, like the other families in our town. Oh, sure, we'd start taking ballet or music or tennis like we were supposed to, but then as soon as we got good at it, or it started to cost money, or it started to take up their time, it was yanked out from under us. Psych! It would happen over and over and over again to us. So hence I went to art school because despite the yanking, I was actually pretty good at it. It was really easy to get in, and I felt like I didn't really deserve anything else because that was kind of the underlying theme of our house, was not deserving anything. As far as my mother was concerned, just being alive was enough. Don't ask for anything else, because you never know when the Nazis are going to come kicking in the door. That'll put a few worms in your flesh, huh? Like I said, I've been plucking them for 23 years. Now, when you're a chef, crazy Don't ask for anything better. Don't cry, especially where anybody can see you. It's actually kind of like I went to work for my parents. 1992, I'm working in a restaurant and I'm working the pizza oven station. And the pizza oven is mounted way up high on a wall above my head. And every time I reach up to put something in the oven, my forearms sear like raw hamburger on the 900-degree metal. And I have oozing, angry burns up and down my forearms. And so I go to the chef to request a transfer to a new station. And he looks at them and he goes, "Oh, ha, 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 ha. Welcome to the pizza station." And every time I try to look inside the oven, my mascara sizzles from the heat. And so I stop wearing it, because who gives a shit what you look like in a kitchen anyway? 1994, my fingertip is nearly severed, hanging by a thread. And I faint. And I wake up in the ER at midnight, where I wait 5 hours for an x-ray. And as the hand surgeon is sewing my fingertip back on, he stops and he says to me, "You know, this would have gone a lot better if they had called me 5 hours ago." 1996, I'm promoted to sous chef. And on my first day, I'm rushing and I'm nervous because of the promotion. And I'm carrying a hot pot of thick, sweet sauce down these very steep steps to our basement where the walk-in fridge is. And as I go down the stairs, the pot slips from my hands. But it lands upright. And the sauce shoots straight up like a geyser and coats my face and my eyes, burning them cloudy. And my face is burning. But the sauce coats not just my face and eyes, but the walls and the ceiling and the floor and all the basement Mexicans. Who then, of course, have to clean it up. And my face is burning, but I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, amigos. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Jose. I'm so sorry, Junior. Junior, who will die 5 years later at Windows on the World, 107 stories up from the basement. And I have to start lunch service because I'm late, but I go into the walk-in where the chilled air cools my burning face, and I just cry and I cry. And I just wish I loved myself more. And I can feel my CodWorms starting to wiggle up and down my back, looking for a place out. 1997, I'm still a sous chef, I'm underpaid, so I come in on my day off and I work coat check for extra money, hauling furs up and down the stairs for Eurotrash tourists who pretend they don't understand tipping. Hey, Fritz, don't play dumb with me. Ich spreche Deutsch, so pay up. Arbeit macht frei, my Jewish ass. 1998. One sleepless night, just for fun, I try to count up all the lobsters I've ever boiled alive, just in case their ghosts come back to haunt me in hell. But luckily, I'm Jewish. We don't do hell. We've already been through it, am I right? I'm looking at you, Fritz. I cook through a broken toe, a UTI, an unwanted pregnancy, the flu, with searing pain in both feet, a frozen shoulder, tendinitis. And I lie. Chefs lie. We lie about veal, that's really pork. We lie about wormy cod, we call it black sable. We lie about chickens roaming free. And you lie to yourself about life. Where am I going? What am I doing? What do I really want from life? What do I deserve? You lie to yourself and to your guests. You're going to lobster hell anyway. When you work in restaurant kitchens, you get involved with all the wrong guys. Because your hours don't match up to normal people hours. And so just because he works the grill and you work saute does not make for the basis of a healthy relationship. Something's wrong here. What am I doing? This isn't what I thought my life was going to be. And I cry, again, squatting in the walk-in, hiding behind a box, holding a smiling dead pig. 2 other fingertips get sewn back on. One from cracking a coconut the wrong way, and the other from a freak accident at the viewing party for my episode of Chopped, the Food Network competition show, on which I come in second. Insult, meat injury. But once again, the stitches come out, and I'm still plucking those worms. One thing, though, about being surrounded by food is that you stop being obsessed with it. It's just food now. I'm still named Wides, but I'm not the fat kid anymore. And I'm tired of working in restaurant kitchens, so I leave to teach. But I have to make shit up when I'm teaching because I don't know half the stuff I'm teaching. It's old school French stuff. Roux, roui, roulade, fagot. I first teach at a school for ex-criminals and drug addicts where we learn how to use a knife appropriately. I move on to a fancy school, fancy white kids culinary school, where all you need to succeed is $40,000 and a delusional dream. And what do I learn from teaching? That you can lead a horse to water, but you can't teach him how to boil it. I teach for 15 years. In those 15 years, I'm served fish with the scales still on it. I'm served an iceberg lettuce omelet, shredded iceberg lettuce omelet. I taste and grade 16 bowls of mayonnaise every month for 15 years. It's like your period with condiments. When does menopause start? Because I'm done. Check, please. Want to worm your way out of a job you hate fast? Here's a tip. Tell a veteran that he's wasting your tax dollars by being in school. That'll bring a call from HR really fast. Hi, unemployment checks. And I actually love teaching. But all my worms are gone. I'm plucked and I'm clean. I'm a top feeder now. Happy, like a dolphin. I've had enough. Fuck you, Cod. Go eat bottom shit.